I've just woken up because I heard a car pull up, and as soon as I drew the curtains back, they drove off. Like, what, they just think that there's just some random van parked here that they might be able to break into, or it's a little bit freaky.
In February of 2024, a YouTuber named Sean uploaded a pretty disturbing video titled "A Stranger Locked Me Inside My Van" on his channel Love Sundays. He frequently uploads footage of his solo stealth camping experiences in his camper van. In this video, Sean decided to stealth camp in the woods somewhere in the UK. He begins the video by parking his van alongside the road and then heads into the woods to explore. After wandering for a while, Sean returns to his van to prepare dinner and decides to go to bed around 9 p.m. However, at 3 in the morning, he is awakened by the sound of a car approaching his van, and this is when things begin to take a turn for the worse for Sean.
Car's just pulled up, and it sounds like they're walking around the van. I've just woken up because I heard a car pull up. It was at the front of the van, and as soon as I drew the curtains back, they drove off. Like, what, they just think that there's just some random van parked here that they might be able to break into, or I don't know. But it's a little bit freaky, but I don't want somebody breaking in thinking there's no one in here, because that'll be a right pain. Hopefully I'll get a good night's sleep.
Upon hearing footsteps approaching his van, Sean quickly drew back the curtains. To his surprise, when he leaned out the window to investigate, the car immediately drove away, leaving him alone for the remainder of the night. Believing he was safe, Sean decided to go back to sleep. However, it wasn't until the following morning that he discovered what they had done to his van.
I slept surprisingly well, considering after that car pulled up outside and then drove off, I didn't hear anything else for the rest of the night. So from then I actually slept all right. Right, well, I think we should at least go outside and see how miserable the weather is. My door's stuck. What the actual see that? I don't even think I can shut the door on it. So when I said I got left alone last night, it doesn't look like I did get left alone, does it? I didn't even hear anyone out on the side door. Right, I've got to work out how to do this. Tell you what, it's a good job I haven't got a bulkhead. There we go. So there's obviously just people wanting to f*** about and just be funny, I guess, but how dangerous is that, locking someone in their van? Let me check the back door. Well, there's nothing on this one because they wouldn't be able to tie it to anything, would they? There's no way they could have done that door anyway.
It's still uncertain why anyone would want to trap a stranger in their van at 3 in the morning. After Sean returned home and reviewed the footage, he noticed something he had previously overlooked. If you look closely at the fuel cap on his van, you can clearly see fingerprints all over it, suggesting that someone might have been attempting to steal diesel from the van. They also placed zip ties to lock the door, in case Sean became aware of the situation and tried to escape to confront them. To make matters even more disturbing, one particular comment left on his video stated that the individuals who locked him in attempted to open his fuel tank, potentially intending to burn it. However, it's very unlikely that anyone would do something this sinister. Since Sean never fully uncovered their true motives, this mystery may remain unresolved.
Go away! No! No! Okay. This is when I die.
This right here is a YouTuber named Kyle Burgess, who in October of 2022 uploaded a video titled Cougar Encounter in Utah on his channel Cougar Kyle. In the video, Kyle was jogging on a trail early in the morning in Provo when he believed he saw a baby bobcat in front of him. He quickly grabbed his phone to capture it on video, but soon realized it was actually a baby cougar, and alarmingly, the mother cougar showed up shortly after he started filming. This is when things took a turn for the worse for Kyle.
Oh, Oh shit. Oh shit. Roar. 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 Oh f***. Oh f***. Oh. Roar. No! Get the f*** away! Get the f*** away! Holy shit. Go! 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 No! No! Go away! Go away! Please go away! Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh. You're a good little kitty cat. Oh. Holy. What's up, dude? Oh. Holy shit. Nice and slow. Come on. Ah! Go get your babies. I'm not coming back down, I promise.
As soon as Kyle spots the approaching cougar, he slowly backs away and tries his best to scare the animal off with loud noises. However, the cougar remains completely unfazed and continues to track him. At one point in the video, the cougar lunges at him when Kyle briefly turns his head to avoid tripping while backing up. This momentary distraction prompts the cougar to attack and close in, coming within just a few feet of him.
You're a scary kitty cat. Holy shit. No, go away! Go away! No! No! You, dude! Okay. This is when I die. No! Get the away! Stupid kitty cat. Holy, come on, dude. I don't feel like dying today. Ah. Go get your babies. Go away. No, you face, dude. Trying to attack me, your eyes are looking away from you. Dude, this is scary. My heart is racing. Go get your babies, go away. Oh, damn. I just wanted to go on a run. You're not getting me, dude. I'm ready to go down. Yeah, get the away from me, face. Oh, damn it.
Fortunately for Kyle, the cougar eventually ran off after he threw a rock at it. This terrifying encounter lasted for a full 6 minutes. Encounters of this nature can be quite dangerous and may result in worse situations if a person attempts to run out of fear or does not appear intimidating, as this could trigger the animal's instinct to chase and attack. Nonetheless, Kyle remained notably composed throughout the 6 minutes and successfully scared the cougar away without being harmed or attacked.
Keep hearing the strange noise up on the top of the mountain.
This right here is a YouTuber named Jason, who in April of 2019 uploaded a video to his channel Appy Mountain Trekkers in which he recorded footage of his solo overnight trip to the mountains. His channel mostly focuses on outdoor activities, and he frequently uploads videos of his solo adventures. However, on this particular day, during his hike up the mountains, he encountered something truly disturbing. As soon as he arrives at the campsite, Jason begins setting up his tent and shows his viewers how he starts a fire as the sun begins to set. While waiting for nightfall, he decides to try spoon carving. This is when he hears a strange sound coming from the woods.
Keep hearing the strange noise up on the top of the mountain. I can't figure out what that is. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it sounds like some kind of, almost sounds like a bird, but it doesn't. Of course it quits. I'm hearing things. This may be a long night.
As the sound was coming from the top of one of the mountains, he dismissed it as a bird or some other small animal and continued setting up for the night. At about 9 in the evening, he turned off his camera to go to bed, but just an hour later, he was woken up by a scary sound that he said he'd never heard before and described it as a strange growling animal call.
Alright guys, we'll give you a quick update. It's about 10 after 10 and I was trying to go to sleep. I was woke up by something I've never heard in my life. I heard like 4 quick, very loud, deep guttural calls on this ridge behind me, behind camp. But it was like 4 calls, almost like a communication call of some kind. I'm still rattled. I've never heard anything like that in my life. It sounded like a mix between almost like a pig, some kind of I hate to even say it, but a pig, an ape, and the calls almost sounded like how the velociraptors communicate with each other on Jurassic Park. I've never heard anything like that in my life.
After the jarring awakening, he attempts to go back to sleep. However, just a few hours later, around 1 a.m., he wakes up once more to what he describes as the sound of something or someone circling his tent.
It's about 1 o'clock. I woke up again. I heard something circling my camp. Whatever it is, it's close. I heard that. Whatever it is, it sounded like there was 2 or 3 of them. And it started on the other side of my camp. Went around my perimeter.
If you look closely at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you can see the reflection of what appears to be 1 or 2 sets of eyes as he pans his flashlight over them. Although there are many animals with eyes that reflect light at night based on the fiery white color of the reflection, it's very likely that Jason was being observed by wolves or coyotes. If this were the case, Jason would be in grave danger. However, he doesn't even seem to notice the eyes watching him as he scans the area with his flashlight. Luckily, he went back to his tent and slept safely through the night. When he woke up the next morning, he recorded another update for his viewers, but he never mentioned the eyes that his camera had captured the night before, suggesting he might have never noticed.
I was down in my tent, not asleep, listening to all the sounds, and then I heard somebody down by the shelter. So at first I had to convince myself it wasn't what I thought I heard, but it definitely was somebody down there.
This right here is a YouTuber named Phil, who in December of 2021 uploaded a video titled Creepy Night in the Woods on his channel Hike Slam. His channel primarily focuses on outdoor exploration, and he regularly shares footage of his hiking and camping experiences throughout North America. In this particular video, Phil chose to go on a solo overnight hike along the Appalachian Trail in Virginia. He starts the video by venturing deep into the woods in search of a suitable camping location for the night. The first few minutes of his hike seemed to go smoothly, and everything appeared to be quite normal. However, about 30 minutes into the hike, he stumbles upon some peculiar trash along the trail. Oddly enough, some of the containers he discovers have writing on them that resembles song lyrics and poems. Nevertheless, Phil chooses to ignore the peculiar writing and carries on with his hike. As he explores further, he encounters another set of strange notes and writings as he approaches the campsite. This time, however, Phil notices a dead duck lying next to the notes, and this is when things start to take a very disturbing turn for Phil.
The weirdness continues. What the hell? And there's a dead duck here. A very long note. And it looks like it was just put here because it's not wet. That duck is fairly recently killed. Alright. Kind of creepy.
After discovering another set of disturbing writings and cryptic poems, Phil finds a dead duck lying next to them. At that moment, he notices a campsite just a few yards away from the notes and the dead duck. It's unclear whether the person who wrote the notes is also responsible for killing the duck. Nevertheless, Phil decides to keep his distance from the campsite and continues on his hike. As he makes his way up the trail, he encounters 2 women hiking down the trail.
Okay, well that was really weird. So as I was hiking toward the shelter, these 2 women were hiking in the opposite direction. They had a little dog with them. They asked if I had seen the guy who was leaving the notes. I said he has a campsite down by the river. They were shocked I was still considering camping out there, but they said that they were kind of freaked out and asked if I would go with them and walk past his campsite so they could get back to their car. So I did, and then when I got back to my truck, and I'm actually on the Appalachian Trail, just going the opposite direction. But I'm just gonna find the closest camp spot to where I'm at because the sun is going down, and set up camp and yeah, settle in for the night.
Phil mentioned that the 2 women asked him if he had seen a man leaving disturbing notes and dead animals. When he told them he noticed a campsite just a few yards away from the notes, the women, afraid for their lives, asked him to walk back to their car with them. Phil agreed and walked back with them before heading in the opposite direction to find a safer place to camp for the night. Once Phil arrived at the shelter, he set up camp for the night and enjoyed his dinner, far away from the unsettling notes. Later that night, Phil went into the shelter to check out the camp log and read some of the notes and stories left by other hikers. That's when Phil discovered something extremely disturbing once again.
I'm gonna check out the shelter log here. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log. So it's kind of cool tradition here. So let's see what this one says. All right, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
It's important to note that the shelter where Phil is currently located is more than 2 miles away and is situated entirely on the opposite side of the road from the notes and ducks he saw earlier. The handwriting in the camp log is identical to the handwriting he found in the previous notes and trash. The situation becomes increasingly disturbing as Phil starts to read through the logbook.
In 2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail, what the heck? In solitary confinement, I figured the following out. Refer to Isaiah 28:15. Here in early 2017, Trump, Nebo, allowed Obama to have the special use of the Air Force One for a trip to Palm Springs. This is the same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary. Wow, this is weird. It's just like it goes in one direction, then immediately goes in a completely different direction. And there's just so much of it. Like this line up here. Think grave robbery in an attempt to obscure the reality of little Mrs. Wolf. In the past, the Russian collusion assertion have been followed up on many occasions with the advancement of illusions that would show discord in fiction between the colluding parties. You're falling faster. Obey your master. What the heck? Okay, that's crazy.
After reading the logbook, it's evident that a convicted felon has been wandering through the woods, leaving disturbing notes all over the place. The writing raises concerns about his mental stability, which is particularly alarming considering that Phil is alone in the middle of nowhere at night and doesn't seem to have anything to defend himself with. As Phil walked back to the shelter, he noticed a bottle hanging from a string on the ceiling. Attached to it was a note in the same handwriting as before. That read, "Watch out for Yeet Mouse. The dead do walk and talk." Disturbed by everything he was witnessing, Phil was overwhelmed with fear and anxiety. He ultimately decided to return to his tent and call it a night. However, as he tried to fall asleep, he heard footsteps approaching the shelter right next to his tent.
Okay, I'm out on the trail. It's the middle of the night. I was down in my tent listening to all the sounds, and then I heard somebody down by the shelter. So at first I had to convince myself it wasn't what I thought I heard, but it definitely was somebody down there. So I packed up all my stuff and I walked past. As I walked past, I did look. It did look like a single guy hanging out in the shelter. He had a headlamp on. All I could really see was the light from the headlamp, so I could have been wrong. So I don't know. I just got out of there.
After hearing footsteps outside his tent, Phil peeked out and noticed a man with a headlamp wandering around the shelter. Unsure if this was the same individual who had been leaving notes, he quickly gathered his things and headed back to his truck. Fortunately for Phil, he was not being followed or stalked and returned home safely. As of the time this video was uploaded, Phil has not gone back to the Appalachian Trail. The identity of the person who left the creepy notes and killed the duck remains unclear, and since Phil never found out the truth behind these disturbing experiences, this mystery might remain unsolved.